It's early Sunday morning after a holiday that we took for a week with our family, and I'm out in the garden trying to beat the heat because it's going to be about 30 degrees Celsius today. So I am amazed at what happens in a week. The garden looks fantastic though, because we had a great big storm that I think a lot of people did all the way down the east coast of the continent, and it kept everything alive quite nicely. And plus I had a friend checking my pots. So I'm going to turn the camera around and give you a little tour and show you how much debris and stuff I had to cut out already this morning. I think I'm done for the day, but it's about two green bags, 2 bags that go to recycling that they compost. And it's not too bad, but the garden looks amazing. Come along, come see. So this is the amount of debris in my wagon that I got from all over my yard. So this is our compostable yard waste bags, and we just put those out here in Canada at the end of the drive on garbage day, and they take them away and compost them. So let me start. And I realized before that my videotaping skills, I've been rushing through and spinning the camera a little bit too much. So I'll try to slow down. So I have this tomato by my front door, and this is what it did in the week that I was gone. So I have to get in here and stake, and I've obviously planted too many things in there, so I have to rescue a few herbs. This planter looks a little worse for wear. It might not be getting enough water with that one drip line, so I'm gonna have to soak it for the next few days. The dragon wings begonias are doing great. These are from a pot that I bought last year for $30. There were 3 plants in the pot, and now I have 3 pots. And I'm really thrilled with that. So I will try to keep those over winter as well. This is a little pot that I got from my creeping Jenny in the ground. It's doing absolutely wonderful. That pot there, and I'll show you, I'll do at the end, I'll add a little video of a pot that I put in my bathroom that replaced 3 or 4 little pots. Sometimes I get a little tired of the collection. What about you? So this was one of the collection of pots that was in my bathroom, and it's now serving very well in this outdoor area in the pretty much full sun. I'm amazed that the tomato is doing as well as it is, because it is in the shade, except for about 4 to 6 hours during the day, but there's lots of tomatoes on it. So these are my oak leaf hydrangeas. So the problem that's happening this year, here is a wonderful bloom, and last year it was covered in blooms, but then I trimmed it. And I think what I did is I trimmed it maybe at the wrong time, but it did do what I needed it to do. It is a big, fatter, bushier. So this year I've sacrificed the blooms. Next year the blooms will come back, and they're already, this white bloom is already turning pink. And then, oh, wait till fall and I show you this plant. It will be beautiful red all over. It is absolutely stunning. So I just trimmed back the perennial salvia. It does not look that great. I hope that it comes back. It looks a little dry, but you know, we'll see. This is an iris that blooms again in the fall. Again, I'm not loving it. I think I might have to dig it up and divide it. It might just be getting too big. And all the yellowing leaves, I'm not sure if that's chlorosis, if irises suffer from that. If you do know, tell me in the comments. And can't remember the name of those, but I think they're suffering from shade. So I think I could probably get in there and dig it up. But I forgot to check. I planted a rose right here. And you know what? It has almost doubled in size since I planted it a week and a half ago. And I'm gonna train it to go up this rail And I think that's going to work great. Right now, you can kind of see a little pink morning glory that's in there. They come back every year. This pot's doing great. The Bidens and the annual salvia, absolutely great, doing what I needed it to do. My phlox, that's another oak leaf hydrangea under that tree that will turn red. I always forget the name of this tree. Sambuca? Isn't that a booze? I'm not sure. If you know the name of this tree, let me know. I can use my identification app and tell me anytime. So I had a big thing of these cacti, and it died. And so then I have put them all in, anything that was slightly alive, I put them all in this pot, and it seems to be loving it. Over on this side of the garden, wonder if you can kind of figure out how the garden goes. So out my front door, I have a wonderful planter box that usually the last few years I did mandevilla in here, but I decided it was going to be salvia, and it's got, oh gosh, can't remember that name. And my annual grass and the cosmos, that's in there. Geez, what is that stuff called? You can eat it. It starts with a C. I know that. So you come out front door. There's the garden I was just showing you. Circles around, a little bit of a courtyard, and in to this wonderful bed that it's starting to fill in now. This is the time of year that I do like it. About a month ago, there wasn't a lot here, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to revamp, but the cosmos are coming and they will be stunning. I've got my little plants here. I do not know if I planted these cabbage for fall soon enough. They're taking their time, but today I decided to do a little bit of propagation of some hydrangeas. Some Empress Woo in there. Love how that planter is working out, and that's my studio. But I digress. Let me take you back over here. These cosmos were either, or coleus were either planted from seed, or I saved them from plants last year. Really thrilled how that worked out. The hydrangeas are loving their life. That might be the screenshot. That might be the thumbnail for the video, don't you think? And again, these are dwarf hydrangeas, and they will not get as big. Just had that bush trimmed. And a little bit of garden art in there. In the winter, it really shows up. In the summer, it gets a little hidden. My boxwood hedge is doing absolutely great. It's almost grown in enough that I can trim it formally and make it nice and tight. And here's a little area that I just love. There's a dogwood in there. It might not get enough sun to turn the red that it should in the fall. This is a little annual area behind the heuchera. I'm not sure if I want to put some sort of bush here so that I don't have to plant any annuals. What would you suggest? I'm also wondering if maybe I should just put another patch of Japanese grass right here. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. This is my wonderful redbud that I've kind of cleaned up the branches on the bottom. Isn't it just so beautiful and sculptural? And this plant is doing well, and there's that elusive name that I can't come up with. I'll come up with it when I'm done, and I'll probably put the name on the screen, but beats me. And some annuals in here that this planter, I think it is just so artistic, which meets all my needs with my channel, living and working artfully. There's hardly any soil in there, and I see some weeds, but I don't know what they are. My big daddy hostas, they love it. Oop, forgot to clean that part up yet. and then out to my driveway. So this is how the garden works. I have a driveway out front. My daughter's RV is parked in my driveway. Hydrangeas all the way to the front, and there's a little, this is our kind of our utility area. There's a gorgeous little house out front that's part of the property. Here, let me go show you the garden out here. So this is a rental. This came with the house. The property came with 2 houses, and this is the gorgeous little front house. When we bought the place, we had to do a lot of renovation, re-side, new windows, build the whole front porch again. But now, the Japanese grass is usually in fine form, but I took advantage and I dug it up and I divided it. And so next year it's gonna look great. But my tenants are absolutely wonderful, and they love to keep it just as pretty as I do. So I hope you're kind of getting a lay of the land. So you come up our driveway. The RV is usually parked at my daughter's friends, and who has a property in the country. So I think they're just working on a little bit here. And then we have the secret garden entrance. So there you go for how to kind of figure out the lay of the land. But look at this. If I think about it, I will put in a shot of this space in the spring when these things are not all out, and you will not believe the difference from first when the garden starts waking up to now. So again, the Japanese grass just adores its life there. The coleus, the daisies. This little pot is doing so well. I just love it tucked in here on a stand. There's one of those begonias I was talking about. And the Brunnera underneath. This is a snowball, Japanese snowball, I think, if I burn them. But the Brunnera underneath replaced hostas that I had down there. And that is Joe Pieweed. And I learned something this year that really helped with this. So this in the past years would get as tall as this snowball, and it would just like fall over and have flowers. Like, it was, Joe Pieweed is absolutely amazing. But my friend who helped me design the garter said, when it gets hip height, cut it all to that, and then it'll all flush out and be quite manageable. And you know, experts are experts for a reason. And she was right. So my spurge or donkey tail, it is doing okay here, but it gets a little bit too much water, I think, from the sprinkler system. However, I have a few plants growing that I need to do some identification on. I'm not sure what those are, but I'm gonna let them live, and if they love their life there, they might be able to stay and maybe take over for the spurge. So we've got some hostas all underneath, limbed up these trees, which is one of the biggest things I learned from the wonderful gardener Linda Votter that I follow. And you know, you guys probably follow all the same ones I do. Janie from Digwater Repeat, Digwater Plant Repeat, or however her name goes. Garden Answer. I love Visit My Garden. So here is, and then I have a whole bunch of gardening friends that I will tag in the bottom, so because you should go and follow all of their gardens. They are doing such a great job on YouTube, and everybody's from different zones, so you will find a person in your zone. So this planter, what happened to this planter is somehow the holes in the bottom got plugged, so it wasn't draining. And one time I thought, oh my goodness, those plants are all dying, they look too dry. And I went, and they were literally sitting in a pool of water. So my husband got out his drill, his handy drill, and he drilled more holes in the bottom, and now it is doing fine. Isn't it precious? is just doing great. These Stilby have just finished. This is a plant that decided to just migrate from the planter a couple of years ago and is loving. I thought it was an annual, but apparently it is a perennial. If you know the name for that, let me know. And we'll walk towards the backyard. This video is getting a little long already, but I thought I would show you things that are happening in the middle of July in zone 6 in my garden. So right now we are outside my studio, which I cannot wait to get back to tomorrow. I just planted that hydrangea. It's not doing great. This was a little rescue hydrangea that is still not doing great. The bottom of it looks good. I might just trim it all back and see what happens. I did realize last week that it wasn't getting a lot of water right there. So I had that repaired. And now I do have a rose in here, and as you can tell, it's quite shady. So I may have to move it, but it is liking it. And I did learn from somebody that said they will bloom profusely in the full sun, but they will like their life in the shade as well. So if this can do okay and climb, I think that's a nice little bright spot in this garden. And it does get sun late afternoon. So this is a great for my wild rose heuchera next to my hydrangeas. I just trimmed back the spirea because it had finished blooming. This I have to keep quite tightly trimmed to retain its heart shape. And then we circle around, and there is my garden next to my, it's called a swim spa pool. And my grandkids were all over yesterday, so it's a bit of a mess up there, but that's where we hang out and eat and stay out of the sun. And I've got some amazing Verbena boreensis that is starting to do really well in the planters, and I really like the look. You can see it over there. And while we're over here, this is a little area that is a little problem area for me because there's a raccoon that lives right under the deck right there, and she keeps digging up all of the dirt here. So we've got to figure out how to get her to move. And then I think more hostas would be great here. This would be a great little spot to fill with hostas. And last week, this was magnificently covered in flowers, this clematis. I don't remember planting that there, but I may have done some propagation already, and I think I did, either last year or the year before. Oh, here's a spider. Got to get through that. And then this is what's happening in my secret garden that I'm trying to build with plants that I divide instead of buying new ones. Now, these are not doing well. And I am not sure if it's lack of water because I don't focus a lot of water back here. Let me know why you think these Solomon seal are doing terribly. I may have to pull those out and give them to my son whose garden loves them. And again, okay, so this is the Joe Pye weed that I have not cut. So it's getting a little bit tall, but it's too late now. I didn't realize what it was. Oh, that might be what that plant is that's taking over where the spurge is. If it is this, I do not want that there. I had a Brunnera that I planted over here. And again, I bought this rose last week and it has doubled in size. And I'm hoping to put a rail up here that we're really close to the next door. And this is our dining room window. If I can put up a ladder of some sort and have the roses fill, it'll be a great barrier. So here you go. There is the secret garden. I'm filling it in. I'm trying to make it so that it's interesting for my grandkids to come and explore. But this might become, it does get a lot of afternoon shade. If the roses do well, This would be stunning if I could just have a rose garden back here. But look at those poor Solomon seal. All right, I'm gonna take you to the back garden. Before we get out to the back garden, I thought I'd show you this hedge of hydrangeas along my fence. And I put some zinnias in here in a planter box. I find it interesting because I have planted zinnias in the ground, but the ones that are in the pots are doing the best. The salvia will soon take over. And look, oh, let's have a quiet moment for the butterfly. Bye. And the Empress Wu that is insanely big hydrangea, I just cut off all of the spent blooms, a dogwood, some lavender back there, and I got a few sunflowers growing up, so that'll be fun in the fall. I planted this tree here, and it's going to be great as it grows up, and as it grows up I can continue to limb it up, so then it'll be a little easier to get around it. I don't know if you heard that. Somebody just said, I just love these yards. I appreciate that. So out here is more of a public space because there's a walkway behind my house where people ride and run, and there's a beach. And here is my grass garden that ultimately I would like to pull out. My husband's gonna hate it. Pull out to here and just have this completely be full of grasses. I think that that will be really beautiful. And like, it just needs to be bigger in my mind's eye. And then this is my garden where I practice layering. So the first thing that came up and are almost done are the daisies. And now the sage, or the ornamental sage is coming. I planted a few, just for color, a few annuals. The daisies are up, but look at the grasses. I love this Empress Wu in front of this tree. It's just such a great thing. And I've planted a few, oh gosh, now I've lost these. Azaleas, rhododendrons, that's what they are. To fill this space. My neighbor wants kind of this space to be full so people can't just come through into his yard. So I thought, you know what, rhododendrons would be stunning, but it may take a few years. But the shape of this cherry tree that apparently he planted 30 years ago is one of my favorite things. Isn't it gorgeous? If you want a boat, he's got one for sale. Then we've got a lovely condominiums next door to us. It's a beautiful place to live and garden. And let's go back in. So one last shot at my studio. This is all about living and working artfully. And this is where I work in my wonderful garden that I hope you enjoyed. So thanks for hanging out with me. I haven't even done my hair. It's all bleached from the vacation that I went on, and which was absolutely lovely. But I always love to come back to my studio, and I always love to get home to my garden. It makes me feel at home. And I hope that your home is a place that you feel wonderful in and fulfilled. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.